Hello everybody and welcome back to another race day. Here we are in Imola for the fourth race of the season, and what a season it has been so far with 3 different races, and we are here for the fourth one. And of course we do have Peter here once again.
Yeah, hello guys, good to be back once again for another enjoyable weekend.
And I'll just quickly show you the table so you can just give a quick rundown of it if you'd want to.
Yeah, so I mean, after a fantastic weekend and such a thrilling weekend from 3 different drivers fighting for one position, which was P1, and the race went in Miami. You know, we had George and Preston fighting away for the pole position, and then it was a very interesting start to the race. You know, towards the end we saw Charlie, who took the lead and won the Miami Grand Prix, meaning he went back up to the top of the leaders, the championship table at the very top now, and he's now leading the championship by 9 points now to George, who unfortunately made a mistake in the final. Coming towards the end of the race after the safety car restart, which meant George would be out of the fight for the race, but would still get a podium to maybe limit that damage that was dealt in Miami. I mean, another good weekend. We saw some more action for P3 between Harry and Jamie, and we saw Bailey for the first time show some good performance, and quite unexpected, took our breath away, because, you know, in qualifying he had a fantastic time in the rain, and then in the race he did all right and then made the mistakes, and which would have cost him in Miami. I mean, Daniel, let's talk about Miami. You know, it was a thrilling weekend, may I say.
Yes, it was such a great weekend. As you say, Bailey had put on quite the show, didn't he? I believe got very unlucky, but did make it into the top 10 at one point. And then, of course, we look at Harry and Jamie. Unfortunately, there was that crash that has now led to, and here's the official news, Jamie getting a 5th place grid pen for this race here. So he will start 5 positions back from where he qualifies. And then you look at the top, and there was a brilliant battle between Preston, George and Charlie for the P1 position. Of course, it was Charlie who took that win. Preston in P2. Preston came very up short, and he was claiming for on another day he would have won that race. Is this that other day where he takes that win?
Yeah, I mean, Preston put an amazing performance, especially not being here for 2 rounds. So, you know, for a man who came here for 2 rounds and stuck it in pole in the wet around Miami, you know, Preston put up a show for the fans, may I say. You know, he did some brilliant defending. You know, the start wasn't the best, but George managed to overtake him into turn 1, which meant George would take the lead of the race, would be defending Preston for a long time, and then until Preston was the faster driver and got past him, and then it was all about George trying to get that P1 spot back. You know, it was only those 2 scrapping away for P1 at the time. But Charlie, he was putting in good laps, and he was trying to put in a good performance, which meant whilst those 2 were still scrapping away for P1, it meant that Charlie could be introduced into the race, to challenge for the race win, shall I say. And, you know, it's great because that was the first time we saw a proper scrap for P1, the fight for the win, really, you know. And I thought that was quite amazing. I thought Miami, so far this season, has been the best race. You know, there was some safety cars, yes. Unfortunately for George, it didn't end so well for him, despite having his issue at the start, which he was leading in the safety car. You know, the top 3 all pitting, and, you know, it kind of went bad after that. Had some issues with the car, which meant he spun out, and it meant that Charlie would take the lead of the race, meaning that he'd have to hold Preston behind for 2 laps to maintain that P1 spot. And Charlie managed to do it. And, you know, Preston put in an amazing performance to try and get Charlie, but you know, Preston can do he couldn't manage to do it, and you know, he's back again this weekend to maybe reclaim that win, you know, that he probably wanted in Miami.
Yes, definitely, and just moving on very quickly to some times of people setting into times. Can we look at Bailey? We'll just, you know, we'll go bottom to top. Bailey had a 1:21 something. He's now improved his lap by 1 whole second. So well done to Bailey on improving that. Potentially get up a bit more. Who knows? Then we look up to a P5 here. You got Jamie with a 1:18.223. And then separating Harry and Jamie is 100th of a second. Yes, that's how close this racing truly is. Harry in P4 with a 1:18.218. Then you look at George, separated by Harry by at least, I'd say, 4 tenths of a second. That is George in P3 with a 1:17.824. And then you got Preston in P2 with a 1:17.425, separating his and George laps by 4 tenths of a second. Then Charlie goes up top with a P1 with a 1:17.234, separating Charlie and Preston's laps by 2 tenths of a second. Can they make up those times, or what we'll see happen here?
Well, you know, we've all seen these three, the top three right now. They have put in amazing performances. George, since the get-go, he started this race in round 2, and he's performed magnificently, you know. Sorry, can't speak there for a second. But he's performed really well. And, you know, from the moment he's joined this league until now, he's put some amazing performances up. And, you know, something for the fans as well, you know. And then you got Preston, who joined in last race and put it on pole. And then looked like he was going for the win. Which in the end he didn't. He managed to turn it into a podium though. And then you got the man currently on provisional pole, which is Charlie, who's taken 2 race wins this season, may I say. 2. I mean, that is amazing stuff. It could have been George's second race win in a row, but Charlie came through and took his second race win in 3 races. Now, can this man translate this pole into a win again, or will we see the other 2 drivers? Will we see Preston get his first win, or will we see George get a second race win of the season? I mean, it's all up for grabs today.
It really is, and we know that Preston and George and Charlie, the 3 of them, and even Harry, for instance, will all be determined to get a race win here today. Of course, Charlie his 3rd, Preston his 1st, George his 2nd, and Harry his 1st. Bringing in like Jamie as well. Could he be the surprise today? Who knows? Unfortunately, you have got Bailey down in P20, but I'm sure he can make his way back up. He can find that time once again. We'll have to see, obviously, but hopefully so. We talk about the top, but could Bailey improve his time? You know, how does he get back up?
You know, I think Bailey, I think he sometimes doubt himself that, you know, oh, I've made a mistake, that's it for me, I can't do anything more. You know, I think Bailey, as soon as he makes a mistake, it's a repetition. And I'm sorry, just to interrupt myself, but I've just seen George and he's currently gone a bit faster on Purple Sector 1 up on Charlie. So could this be a provisional pole for George? I mean, as I look right now, he genuinely looks like he's pushing the car to its limits as we speak. Going through this tricky section, you want to be easy on the throttle right through here. As he heads into the end of Sector 2, will it be another Purple Sector? It will be 6 tenths up on his best lap though, so this is a big improvement for George as he enters his way through the final sector, coming towards the end of the DRS detection point, which is the final few corners before he gets onto the main straight. I mean, Dan, let's talk about the track a little bit. You know, this track is mainly a high downforce circuit. Will people try and compromise their setups and for a bit of straight line speed for that sacrifice of downforce?
It really depends on the style of driving by the different drivers. It's what they prefer to run. I think will be the ultimate decider. If people think, oh yeah, you know, I could work with not as much low downforce, so go for that. They'll be taking a risk, but sure, if some guys want to be safer, then they won't sacrifice it. They may lose that time on the straights. but it will definitely be very interesting to see what happens. But yes, George is back on top now by 1 second. No, not 1 second. Sorry,
Four tenths.
Yeah, 4 tenths of a second. Sorry, it took me a while to get that. And that's the question now. Can Charlie make up the time? Can Preston make up the time? Can Harry or Jamie potentially? That is the question I think we'll have to see what happens, of course.
I mean, you know, you speak about Harry and Jamie, you know, I think they'll scrap away for this P4, P5 position. And as we speak right now, Charlie is currently on provisional pole by less than a tenth. What a lap from Charlie. I didn't watch him, but I just see it pop up. And Charlie is currently on provisional pole. This man is not letting George or Preston have it easy this session.
He really isn't. He is getting the utmost power out of that engine. I can't remember who the engine supplier for Alpine is now.
It's Renault, but it's still Renault. I mean, Renault are basically Alpine. You know, they supply their own engines. They make their own engines, like Mercedes and Ferrari. Like they make their own engines with Red Bull as well. You know, I think it's still Renault. Like they still make the engines, but they're known as Alpine now, though.
Yes, definitely, and you know, he's trying to get the utmost power out of that Renault engine. I still can't speak today. What is going on with me? But yeah, I just saw a Ferrari. Harry has spun.
Yeah, Harry. Yeah, not looking good. Just waved past Charlie. He did. You know, let him through. You know, didn't want to destroy anything, but. You know, I think Harry was actually on a lap as well. So clearly he's done a Leclerc and pushed it too hard, maybe in that curb, and he's binned it round there. So he's probably going to pit and get a new fresh sauce on. You know, I haven't seen... I think Preston is... Oh, yeah, Preston's currently out, and he's 3 tenths up on his best lap so far. So this currently will now take him down to a 17 point something, but he's improved by a little bit more. He hasn't got any purple sectors just yet, but let's see what he can pull out the hat now, because he's rounding through these final few corners. And can Preston come through with this provisional pole lap? Can he do it? He's going to round the final corner, entering the straight. Will he make it a provisional pole? And he goes in the pits.
I definitely think that's a very good lap, and Preston should have taken it, but maybe it was something he saw and we didn't see, potentially. Who knows? But can we just look down the pack a bit here? Bailey, of course, again, was on a 121. Then he went to a 120.5, and now he's on a 120.2. He is improving. Can he improve enough to get past George Russell?
Yeah, no, he's only a tenth away from George Russell, so I wouldn't see why not, you know. I wouldn't see why he couldn't improve. I mean, I'd like to see Bailey improve his qualifying, but maybe the qualifying pace is not his thing, and it's his race pace where it comes through, really. And he's going slow. Maybe he's slow, low engine mode.
Yeah, I do believe that is it. He is, if you look over on twitch.tv/Bayrin, go check it out now. He streams, you know, his POV of the races and then uploads them on his YouTube. Go subscribe to him and follow him, of course. He is getting those yellow flags in the sectors. So obviously, again, low fuel mode, going into the pits now. Gonna get that fuel up again, gonna get potentially new tyres, and we'll see what we can do. But just very, very quickly, sorry. You were saying before how Jamie and Harry will be fighting for that P4 position currently in qualifying. You got to remember, Jamie's got that 5-place grid penalty, so no matter where he gets, Harry still starts above him.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's important for Jamie that he tries and starts in his top 10 position, because if he starts anywhere below, it's a hard track to overtake. And as long as the car in front of you can make that car wide as possible, you know, I think it's really end your race, really. So you really want to be starting in the top 10. You know, he currently stands to be starting in P10, but he wants to get past Harry to see if he can start in that P9 spot at best. So, you know, I think it's more of he needs to maybe push past Preston to get past into that P8, so he starts that little bit high up in that top 10. And so, you know, with this 5-place grid penalty he got from Miami, from the incidents we looked at from last race, you know, which was 5-place grid penalty worth, you know, I think that... how do you think Jamie's going to approach this weekend, you know, knowing that he's got a 5-place grid penalty? he's gonna want to maybe take things a bit more cautiously this season. Well, this session, should I say? And yeah, I mean, I think Charlie's just about to start his outlap. Well, he's doing his outlap right now, but he's about to do a flying lap. If you wanna watch his onboard
No,
right
this
now.
is currently a timed lap because it doesn't have outlap next to it. This is currently a timed lap. So he's on.
Yeah, I know. He's on his outlap though.
And here we go with another time lap for Charlie. We'll see what he can do. But you were saying about Jamie a minute ago. I definitely think he might take it cautiously, but he might also try and push to get back up there in the race. He won't accept no for an answer. He will be pushing and pushing. Do not count out Jamie yet. I definitely think he could get back up there.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some good racing from him in Spain where he got unfortunate and got taken out by one of the AI drivers, which meant he would fall down the order when he was in P2 after a chaotic start from Bradley and George, kind of crashing out like Hamilton and Rosberg did back in 2016. But yeah, I mean, Jamie was fortunate to miss any of that chaos and get out unscathed. Well, not touched, should I say. And yeah, I think that Jamie got really unlucky in Spain, but still came back with a podium that race. It was a Red Bull podium 1, 2, 3, which was good. But George came back to obviously win that race against all the odds. And yeah, I mean, Jamie, I reckon this is not. It's only at the start of the season, so I reckon Jamie's just warming up. He's maybe taking it a little bit easy, I think. And, I think that Jamie will come into it sooner or later. I reckon that he will start putting in better performances. I reckon that he will maybe start to score more podiums, finish in the top 5s, I reckon it'll be good to see that when that happens, obviously. But, yeah.
It definitely will. It definitely will. It'd be great to see Jamie back up there. Just like his season 1 days when he was, matching people's strategies. He was, really getting up there and fighting the likes of Preston and Callum, who, newsflash for you, will be is a new reserve driver within the series, so he might be popping up every now and then. You might even see the combination of the 2 season 1 constructors champions back on track again, Preston and Callum. Who knows? You have to stay on and watch, of course, but it will definitely be an interesting one for all our drivers today. We got 20 seconds left of qualifying here. It does look like Jamie will be starting back at P10 here today. Do you think he'll be happy with that?
I don't think he'll be happy with that. I don't think he'll be pleased with it either. He'll probably just think, right, P10, I'm just going to have to forget about that and push on. Despite having this grid penalty, I reckon it's going to affect him quite a bit. Sorry to interrupt as well, but as the session comes to an end, George has set purple sectors. So can George take this provisional pole away from Charlie as he rounds to the final few corners and comes to the end? Will he get this provisional pole? Can he do it? He must do it to get this extra point to gain on Charlie, and he has gone faster than Charlie. And will he take this provisional pole?
And George, he does! Yes, he does! With a 1:15.866. Sorry to interrupt you there. And also, bad news for Jamie. He's down at P8, which means he will be starting outside of the points today.
Yeah, that's not what Jamie would want now, when it looked so good for him, and that's track evolution for you at its finest. And, I don't think this will be something that Jamie will be happy about, but he's now going to have to push for it, like I said, and maybe try and salvage something from this. He has. Oh, I don't think we're going to have to leave for now.
Yeah, everyone just stays in now. What the hell? This is luck of a straw, mate. Not luck at all. Not luck for Jamie. I'd just like to take that comment back. Thank you very much. But you get what I mean. Charlie now going into pits. When he gets into pits completely, that will end qualifying. 5-place grid penalty for Norris and Albon due to illegal blocking there. But yes, people, that is the end of qualifying. Thank you all for watching, and we'll be right back with you with the race in a second. Do not miss it, people. Do not be late. Let's go. Here we go with the leaderboard for your qualifying. You got George in P1, Charlie in P2, Preston in P3, Harry in P4, Jamie down, and probably going to be dropping down to P13 due to a 5 place penalty. But Bailey takes P19, getting above Lando Norris due to a disqualification for Lando. So he goes 1 place up. He'll be happy with that, and we'll be right back with you with the race in a second. Do not miss it, people. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Emilia Grand Prix. Here we are for the first ever rain race. This is definitely going to be an interesting one, and may I just say, we know what Bailey can do on rain, so I'll be excited to see what comes from him today. But here we are. I've just seen Bradley messaging, so he's probably just realised he's missed the whole race. But it's definitely going to be a very interesting one. Who do you think will surprise us today?
Bailey's definitely going to surprise us. We saw what he did in Miami in qualifying. Now, I want to see him do good this race, because when we spoke to him in Miami towards the end as he DNF'd, I spoke to him and asked him that you probably seem to favour the wet over the dry. And he said that he definitely did. He preferred the wet over the dry. So I really hope that Bailey can put his car up a bit higher up that grid, maybe with a bit of chaos, with maybe a bit of safety car involved. I reckon Bailey can get points this race. I reckon that is a possibility for Bailey right now. It's all up for grabs for Bailey, but it's mainly up to grabs for the top 4. I mean, you know, we saw what these 3, minusing Harry out of this equation, you saw what these 3 did at the start. You know, George and Preston fighting away on the wet for the start, but this time it'll be a front row of George and Charlie, who are the 2 main championship contenders right now. The 2 people going at it to get this their first ever championships in this DFL championship that we hold. But as you know, the car's coming to a end on the grid now, about to form up. We're going to see a lot of mind games now. I think that... Sorry, you go.
Yes, I definitely think that. I've just seen Bradley just said he can race, but unfortunately we're going. He has missed it. You know, it's unfortunate, but you know, no exceptions. Sorry, Bradley. But yes, everyone is lining back up. Charlie's been disqualified, probably for reversing accidentally. But it will definitely be a very interesting race. I apologise about me muting for a second. Of course, you know, it's great timing for your family to drop into your Dave. I'm not going to call it what it is because I don't want to set it off. You know, it's great time. It's happened twice now in this season. It's never happened before. But here we go. I'll allow you to do lights out. You know what to do.
As the final car enters the grid now, it's going to be 5. It's going to be 5 red lights.
Oh.
And away we go. And as George gets an amazing start, Charlie has a bit of a slow start, and Preston, he seems to be gaining on Charlie. George is flying away with his start now. What an impressive start from George, as he now takes the race lead, has no mistakes. Harry making a slight mistake there.
George and Charlie have been hit, and I believe Harry also has... No, Harry does not have wing damage, but yes, that sends George and Charlie straight to the back once again.
Not again. I mean, we saw this, and I mean, I didn't even see what happened. I just saw George and go towards the wall, and he's got some end plate wing damage, so this will affect him as well. The 2 championship rivals going at it, and they caused a crash, and you know, this is kind of looking a little bit like Hamilton and Max Verstappen a bit, you know.
It really is, and can we just appreciate Preston is back up to P1. He's got what he wanted. Can he hold it for the rest of his race? As we know, he is a very, very good rain racer. We saw him qualifying last time in Miami, so it's definitely going to be an interesting one here today.
Well, you never know, but the strategy says that it's going to be intermediates for the rest of the race, so it's going to be 1 pit stop onto a new set of intermediates in maybe more than 10 laps now, but you know...
Preston sets the fastest lap with a 1:37.133. Nice one by Preston there. Harry's still in P3 here. You've got Jamie in P13, Bailey in P18. George has just overtaken Charlie. I don't think George got any wing damage. It's just Charlie.
No, he does. Yeah, I mean, Charlie definitely does. He has no front wing at all, but George definitely has wing damage. I see him go slightly wide and having to run across the gravel into
Oh!
turn one.
Another thing just happened. Nicholas Latifi has been sent off. Bailey gets another position here. He is going up. Gone onto the gravel slightly, but managed to recover it.
Yeah, I mean, we were speaking about George. That you said that George doesn't have any damage. He actually does. His left-hand side end plate has gone. So you know, it's not enough to stop him from racing. But you know, he will definitely feel it in these conditions now. You know, and George going slightly wide in the background of when I'm watching Bailey. But Bailey's gonna have to make this car wide as possible, like we saw in Spain. So he's gonna have to do that defending in Spain right now against George once again, as we saw these two make some slight contact last time. But this will be an amazing fight. You know, seeing George to maybe get past. I mean, you know, George has got some wing damage, so who has the upper advantage? The person with experience or the person who's new but got completely compact car?
I definitely think the experience will come into play, but also the damaged wing. The damaged wing will knock off that time a lot, so it'll be down to straights for George to attack, and it looks like he really is. With no DRS, of course, because no DRS will be activated this race as long as the rain keeps up, and George may be going for the overtake on Bailey here. Just very quickly, you know, whilst we've got a few seconds in between them, you've got Charlie with a 25-second gap to gain on Nicholas Latifi. Very big gap, and Jamie has managed to overtake Daniel Ricciardo here. Those are your only changes currently, but we're going to go back down to Bailey very quickly here. George losing a bit of time. What's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the best. It was a really good start from George. I mean, he had a great launch. He had everything going his way. He had all the cars behind him into turn 1s and 2, and then that's where it went wrong after that. Into gravel section, passes into turns 3, I think, or turns 2 or 3, and that's where it all went wrong for Charlie and George. Charlie having actual wing damage and, you know, not having it go his way, and neither is George. So the two championship rivals crashing out, but not fully DNF in the race, but just getting damage to their cars, has really cost them their races now. With Charlie down, like you said, with 25 seconds behind Latifi, and George is down in P18 with some wing damage, but not enough to, well, it is enough to stop him, but, you know, it won't stop him from continuing on the race and having to make a pit stop. But when he probably makes he goes into the pits now.
Yep. And Jamie unfortunately has lost that position on Daniel Ricciardo, but maybe going back for it now. Goes on the inside of Ricciardo, on the corner, dives bomb, and gets that position back. He might be going after the dart stroll, but he has to defend off Daniel Ricciardo. But it looks like that Williams is really glitching, so we might be in for a glitchy race, which will not be good at all, people. We tend to hate those.
No, may I say? I mean, Charlie and is catching up George. So can we maybe see these two fight? I mean, it is a long pit straight. This is, so you lose a lot of time in the pits if you when you go to pit. So George is going to be, I think, about a couple, is 7 seconds now behind Charlie. So those two races now, these two will benefit from a safety car now. A safety car will really benefit George and Charlie right now. I mean, hasn't been the best. But as I see right now, Fernando Alonso is tacking Harry, probably taking that podium position away from Harry this race. If he can hold on to it. If Harry can't, then Fernando Alonso will take this P3 slot. But Harry's going to defend and use all his might to make that car wide as possible. And he's sort of creating a train right now, which, you know, if you look in your bottom right hand corner of your screen, you can see this massive train from all the way from P3 all the way down to probably like P16, I think. So, you know, is it possible for Charlie and George to get past
I definitely think it is. Oh, Bailey has taken some wing damage I've just seen on his stream. Very unlucky there by Bailey. He's going to be going into the pits now as well. Not a very good start at all for Charlie, George, or Bailey here at all.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it hasn't been the best race for them at the moment, but Preston currently flying away with this race. I mean, Preston is going to have a smooth sailing race today. I don't think nothing can stop him unless he makes a few mistakes like we saw he did in Miami as he spun, but still managed to recover. We all know how quick Preston is, so that didn't really affect him much. So, you know, oh, and I see a Alfa Romeo. Oh, it was George, but I think he made a slight mistake, maybe going wide. But never mind. But, you know, I think it's quite crucial that these two keep scoring points. You know, George has gained a point on Charlie already today by grabbing pole. So that means it's already taken it down to, what's it called? It's already taken him down to 8 points, the championship gap. So these two, I mean, they haven't had the best, and almost kind of looking like Hamilton and Verstappen, the more experienced versus the young and quite aggressive driver. I wouldn't call George aggressive driver because he's not that type of guy, but you know, he is fast. So you know, I'd kind of relate George to Max Verstappen and Charlie to Hamilton.
Oh yes, definitely. It's a very good comparison, to be fair, but they've both got a lot of time to build up. Let's hope that they don't cause an accident like Max and Lewis did.
Lewis.
You know, because we really would not want that. But I believe that was at Monza, wasn't it? That big accident. Where
Yeah,
Max...
they had several. They had one, and they had some touching in Emilia into turns one. Hamilton having to go across those sausage curbs, and then you know, obviously Emilia, and I think there was one more, and then there was one in Britain as well. So, you know, I think we can see. I reckon this season it's going to be a very tight championship fight. But if I remember correctly, Preston only got P2, so that means he shouldn't be. If he gets a race win today, I reckon that he can put himself all the way up with the fastest
do you want me
lap.
to pull it up so you can see it a bit better?
Yeah, go on then.
There you go. But it will definitely be very interesting. I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Preston already with 19 points this well, within one race already. I'm just trying to find out who actually has the fastest lap. Oh, yeah, so Preston currently holds the fastest lap. So he stands to gain 26 points today. 26. So that's quite a lot for him. So despite him not getting the win in Miami, you know, if he finishes today's race in P1, he will finish 45 points. But George goes with a fastest lap with a 125.2, sorry. So he's taking that fastest lap away from Preston. So really, Preston, if Preston wants to come away with this race today, with the race win, and actually, yeah, with this race win and what's it called? And with more points than the other two drivers, he'll be on equal points if he gets his fastest lap with George. So he'll be on 45 points with George and only 8 points. So it'll be a three-way fight. And Preston only being in, what's it called, 2 races. You know, so that's quite good performance despite, you know, missing the other 2. So for 2 races for him to recover and to get a P2 and a P1, he will be already with the championship leaders. Isn't that quite amazing what people can do with performances like this?
It really is, and well, you say it could be quite a large battle for championship. If we're just taking in for a minute, you've got Charlie, George, potentially Harry in this. You've got Preston. What if Carl comes back and storms it all? I mean, that's the question. We could have a 5-way championship battle. That's never been done before in this championship. And George takes the fast lap with 124.665. He's clearly catching up, and he is not slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to definitely have to watch these two, Charlie and George, once again going at it. George is the faster car right now, so I expect George to be with him in the next 5, maybe 3 to 5 laps time. You know, the gap is only 5.1 to Charlie at the moment. So, and George has got another purple sector 1. So George is generally pushing on the tyres he's got. So really, I don't think it's about trying to recover, but if a safety car comes through, you know, we're not even halfway through this race yet. You know, we're only 9 laps in out of the 32. But you know, it's already been dramatic, and as start of the races normally are dramatic, like that. Lap one incidents like Charlie and George this race. George has been in many incidents this season so far. He's been in Spain in this race, so I'm not necessarily it's his fault, but he's been in quite a few incidents at the moment.
He really has, and it's going to be interesting. But can I just, apologies, but divert your attention to Jamie? Apparently, Lance Stroll was being very laggy, as again we love to hear, and has unfortunately spun Jamie out, and he's down to P16. So he is not incredibly impressed, and he's down to P16. Can he get back up?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you saw him. Like I told you, if you're not starting in that top 10. The cars in front of you, like we're seeing right now, you can literally see from Harry all the way down to Carlos Sainz. There's a massive train from all the way from P3 to P10, and that's all you have to do is manage to defend through these sections and deploy all your stuff into the straights. And you're fine. You hold your positions because, it's a hard track like Monaco. Monaco's a hard track because your starting position determines where you finish, essentially. I mean, there's only times when your position will change, and that's through the pits. And your strategy has to be spot on in Monaco, as it has to be here as well. Not saying, obviously, these are Monaco and Emilia, two different different circuit types. So you got Monaco's obviously a street circuit, and this is obviously a non-street circuit. It's just a normal racing track, but it's still similar to Monaco because the cars in front of you can make that as wide as possible, so it's not that hard to defend on here. But as we see, George currently in the pits as well. Charlie and George both pitting, and it's starting to drop as well. So is it time? And Charlie, I've just looked onto him. I switched onto him, and he's on the hard compound. So it's transition time onto the slicks, and like we saw in Miami. So it's quite actually interesting that we're seeing slicks this on this lap now.
And there goes Bailey into the pits to change his tyres as well, get some new... what's he going for? I think those are the softs. I think I saw his strategy was something like softs to mediums. So it's definitely going to be very interesting to see what Bailey can come up with now, because he is under a lot of pressure to get back up.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see what George has gone on. I mean, if it's only 9 tenths of a second between George and Charlie right now, so expect a scrap between these two. So Charlie with the warmed up tyres compared to George, who will not have warm tyres yet. So look at these two, they're so close, and Charlie gained through those corners like it's nothing. He's taken out 5 tenths out of George, out of that 9 tenths gap, and now George will have to fend off Charlie on that medium compound. So George going on the quicker compound compared to Charlie, where he's looking to maybe end his race on the hards, whereas George is maybe looking to go push harder. So George needs to be quicker than Charlie, and it's going to be interesting because these two are now going to are not that far away from scrapping, and as soon as DRS is activated, I think this is where we're going to see a lot more fun and a lot more I feel like this is where we're going to see a lot of stuff happen now. I mean, you see Charlie and George, but who's going to have the better straight line speed, Charlie or George? I mean, I reckon we're joined with the new tyres now.
Yeah.
And Charlie on the one lap old tyre hards, I think that it's going to be quite interesting, and George has already pulled a 1.3 gap between him and Charlie now. So, that's quite interesting what kind of pace George has in the locker, and to show what Charlie doesn't as well. So Charlie's aim is to maybe play the long game, whereas George is trying to play that more aggressive, fast-moving game. So back to you, Dan.
Yes, it's definitely very interesting, and it's between the two of them, we will surely see a very, very incredible battle That is for sure. And but if we look up really quickly, Preston still in P1. Lewis Hamilton was above him just for a moment, but Lewis has pitted now, and Harry back to his P3 position. So everyone resetting back into their rightful positions now, and can't speak. Harry under a lot of pressure here by Sebastian Vettel, Fernando Alonso, George Russell. You've got a long queue of drivers going up until Valtteri Bottas. So he is under pressure by quite a few drivers. What will happen will be a very interesting thing to see.
Yeah, may I say that I've just seen Harry's tyres, and he's on the soft compound, which is quite unusual because I reckon he thinks he can try and push for the win here. But, you know, the gap to him and Tsunoda is 10 seconds. So whether he thinks he has the pace or not to bridge that gap to him and Tsunoda is a whole different question. You know, and I just seen him. He's gone purple sector 2. So maybe he does have the pace in the locker to maybe try and chase down Tsunoda. But he may be looking to put himself up into P2 as Preston goes over 122.5 with the fastest lap. So if he does this, he will be ahead of... no, he will still be on equal points with George.
It's just getting ever so closer and closer, ain't it? Harry now second fastest lap with 122.472. All three of them are going at it for fastest lap here. Do not underestimate either of them. I definitely think Harry could get back up, but also I don't think the AIs are looking as glitchy now from watching them, but they are a little bit, you know, every so often they kind of go side to side a little bit, but you know, Harry going against Yuki Tsunoda will be interesting, taking in Malag and stuff. But we could really see a big battle.
George goes with a 120.7, may I say. So he's gone 2 seconds quicker than Harry on the medium compound as well as Harry's on the softs. That's quite amazing stuff from George.
It really, really is, isn't it? I don't think any of those drivers are going to be given up today. Bailey, we just looked at Bailey really quickly. Unfortunately, losing a bit of time. Was it really a good idea going on to those softs? Or would it have been better maybe going on to mediums that last a bit longer?
It probably would have been beneficial to go on maybe a longer lasting compound. But, you know, every time... I think that, you know, I think Bailey knows what he's doing. I think he knows the strategy that he knows what he needs to do. So maybe this is just something part of a masterclass that he's holding for us, maybe.
Potentially, and trust me, I really hope so, because I'd love to see him back up in most points. Because he got very unlucky last race with George Russell spinning him out. But I know for a fact either... probably after this race, which I hope, if he survives, I really hope so, he will be joining us for another interview, because, you know, he said he will always join us for interviews. But maybe we just say Preston took fastest lap, but now George has taken it back once again. Neither of them will give up on that fastest lap point, because they both know they both need it.
Yeah, well, if George takes it, it's a point away from Preston. So, you know, he won't necessarily gain this fastest lap. It's like he'll have it for him, but he won't gain no points because he's not in the top 10. But George is generally pushing, so it makes me think that if he keeps on pushing the way he is, he's going to have to make another pit stop, which will bring him back down just behind Charlie again. So he needs to hope that these tyres can maybe last a bit longer and wait until a safety car, as I see George slightly glitching there and trying to get past Latifi. So George is still a quicker car. He's probably going to pull out to the outside line. Will George make the move? He goes round the outside of Nicholas Latifi and makes the move possible. But Carlos Sainz has a yellow flag for ignoring, has a 5-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flags, may I say. I can't speak.
Oh, can I just bring something up really quickly? Harry, I don't know what we've missed. He was P3. He's now down to P10. What the hell has gone on here?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's gone on either, but, you know, whatever's gone on, it's not looked good for him. So, maybe it'll be best to maybe try and get a chat with him at the end of the race to see what happened, really.
We shall see what can happen here. But George now has Jamie in his sights. Of course, that 8-second gap. It would be very interesting when George can, and if he can, close that gap on Jamie. But you've currently got Bailey now with a 31-second time penalty. Not time penalty. No. Correction. 32-second gap. He just went onto the gravel a second ago. Very unlucky for Bailey so far, I must say. But Preston is having the absolute drive of his life.
Yeah, he's having a field day today. He is, he's actually he's enjoying life. He's not having he hasn't got the competition like he did last race. So maybe this is also playing in a factor as well. So Preston has to. Well, we have to take into account that Preston has no one to challenge him now. At the start of the race, and yeah. I mean, it's a shame because I would have loved to have seen another three-way fight for the win today, like we saw in what's it called in Miami. But George puts in a 1:19.7, so George is pushing his car to the absolute limits right now and driving the tires off that car right now. So it makes me think that he is probably going to end up making another pit stop to maybe softs or another set of mediums actually. So we'll have to wait and see what George has in stock for us, but
it's definitely going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, it is interesting, but it's quite unfortunate that, George and Charlie are not up front with Preston, because it would be I would have loved to have seen these guys once again scrapping away for the lead. Just, it's something about that is so exciting to watching drivers fight away. And, we saw between George and Preston that they had some massive respect for each other after the race as well. Like, we saw them messaging in chat as well, like talking to one another.
And Charlie as well was there.
Oh yeah, and Charlie as well. But we saw how much room they gave each other. They didn't squeeze anyone off. They both had, like, Preston, George, and Charlie all gave each other room. And George keeps pushing and pushing and pushing. George is putting up a little bit of a show, but as I see up and just a little bit further up ahead, Jamie scrubbing away with Lando Norris. So this is they're gonna lose some time to George, the car behind, as Lando Norris goes wheel to wheel with Jamie. Jamie going slightly wide into that gravel trap, but he makes it ahead anyways, going into the end of sector 1. So now Jamie's up into P15.
Yes, it's definitely interesting. It's been a very unlucky race for Jamie, I will say, starting P13 due to a 5-place grid penalty. And now, went down to P16 due to getting spun out by Lance Stroll, and now he's back up to P15. I really do want to see him do well, but we look at Bahrain, he's spun out, unfortunately, and he DNF'd. Spain, I can't remember how he did now, very unfortunately.
He got a podium in the end. He got podium in the end.
So yeah, Jamie got podium there. And unfortunately now, just very quickly, Bailey has been lapped by Preston and Yuki Tsunoda. Hopefully he does better in Silverstone. We shall find out, of course. But it's definitely an interesting one. That is for sure. With Jamie, what you've got is Jamie with Mick Schumacher in front of him. Can he get up and wield the pressure from Lando Norris, build up and make him not be able to catch up?
I mean, to be honest, I'm not entirely sure at this rate. I mean, it's kind of hard to say now because George is looking quite good at the moment. He's got the pace and he's catching up. So I don't think he's going to get points unless the safety car comes out.
I definitely think with Preston up top. I know you said you wish to see Charlie and George up there fighting with Preston, but them being out for points just makes the competition, I think, a bit more interesting. It brings Preston more into the action, and it makes his points even more impactful.
Yeah, I mean, he'll definitely bridge that
George
gap
gets past Lando Norris. Really sorry to interrupt, but nice overtake by George. I believe it was on the outside of Lando. Nice one by George there.
Yeah, George is looking quite good, and now he's going to have to pass Jamie. And as we know, Jamie's had some incidents in the past, back in Miami with Harry, and a load of drivers in the pits right now. So this is going to benefit George very, very much right now, which will drag him back up into P6.
And it's dragged Jamie up into P5 here. This is truly incredible. I mean, will it impact Charlie as well? It is. It's sending him straight up to P11 here. Now P12 just got the overtake on George Russell, who's coming outside the pits. This is a interesting fight now. It's all to play for with Harry down in P19 now. Can Bailey get back up as well? I mean, that's the interesting question. I really hope so. Getting Harry may not be too difficult, but of course he does have to overtake, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, but Preston Lewis and maybe one
Tsunoda.
other. And Tsunoda, yes.
So
and Bailey goes a bit wide there, very unlucky, but now going into the pits.
May I say, I think we're about to find a fight between Jamie and George, as George is ever so close to Jamie, as it's the closest he's been all race to some other people, and now he's finally brought his race back to life with a load of people benefit going into the pits. So will George overtake Jamie onto this? He opens up DRS, so does Jamie. Jamie also has DRS. George will go to his inside, and he looks like he just passed Jamie with like an absolute breeze.
But
and
Jamie might be coming back. Jamie might actually be coming back for this. He had the DRS. He's using the bare bones of his ERS here, but he is losing a bit of time. Very unlucky by Jamie there.
Yeah, I mean, George is pushing this car to an absolute limit. So George, he is pushing this car to the limit. So despite having that incident in lap 1, he's not going to get challenged. He's not going to be able to challenge for the win today, unfortunately. I mean, once he passes Tsunoda, he's got to get another 7 seconds to Hamilton, and then he's got to bridge another 30 seconds to Preston. So Preston has this win locked in. Hopefully, despite not having any, hopefully he doesn't have any issues. George goes slightly wide. Is this the tyre we're speaking to him right now? Is this the time for him to maybe pit on another set of mediums? Because the mediums have really worked for him this race, despite pitting on around lap 10, lap 9. So, he's made these mediums work for quite a bit. He hasn't gone into the pits this lap, so it looks like it's all working out for him so far. Maybe he thinks he can go longer on these mediums than we think he can.
I definitely do really want to see what George can do, but if he pits, he will be sent down quite far once again outside the points. So he's now got a serious thing to go for.
Bailey now, 5-second time penalty with ignoring blue flags.
And Lance Stroll, I kid you not. No, was that Vettel or Lance? I think that was Vettel actually, lagging side to side to side to side to side. Goes straight into Bailey and knocks him into the side. Very unlucky for Bailey once again there.
Yeah, I mean, Bailey once again not having another bad day in the office, shall I say. So, I mean, it's not looking good for Bailey this race. Maybe the rain, yeah, I mean, it's not gone well for Bailey. If it was in the rain, I would have had a bit more confidence in him, but in today's race, it's not looked so well for him. I mean, it's not looking good at the moment. But as George bridges his way onto the back of Yuki Tsunoda, George is going to have DRS on Tsunoda, so George can breeze past him easily. But I've just seen a yellow flag somewhere, and
that's Daniel Ricciardo.
And the McLaren's, and that should be a safety car because the McLaren is off to the side of the track, so that's caused a little bit of chaos. Can this be a safety car? Will this safety car be brung out? And we're not entirely sure yet because Preston is coming through this sector as well. So will it be a safety car? I don't know. Preston maybe looking to hope that it's not a safety car, because then it'll bring...
Can we just...
Oh, it's a safety car!
Oh, no!
Oh no, it's a safety car, and this has brought everything back in. This is going to help George massively, so he will get a free pit stop from this, and this is the time he needs to pit now, because if he pits, he'll still come out in the points now, which is beneficial for George to keep the championship
But it's
alive.
it's also beneficial for Preston, who is currently also pitting right now. And I've just seen, I kid you not, as soon as the safety car came out, Bailey's face just exploded like, oh my god, this is my chance. He has to take advantage of this. I really hope so.
Hopefully, George has then made a little bit of contact with Tsunoda. Hopefully that's not a 5-second time penalty for George, because it looked like they came so close. George looked like he almost tapped the rear end of Tsunoda. So will George come in this lap? He is coming in this lap. This is going to be absolutely beneficial for George, but because the safety car, I'm pretty sure they can catch a safety car now, so George might lose a lot of positions, but it won't matter so much at the moment. But Charlie will be ahead of George, which means he will gain points on George, but George is now going to sauce to the end of the race.
This is definitely about to be a fight, that's for sure. Preston is also on softs, so it's about to go down, I am sure. Jamie almost in the points now. It's not too far off, to be fair. He could really rise up as well. Harry in P18, this could be beneficial for him. Bailey, P19, that is the one I'm wondering about. Will it let him unlap, or will it, you know, what will happen with Bailey here?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, what I was about to say was that hopefully that it doesn't glitch out in I think it was disqualifying or something like that from last race. Yeah, so hopefully it doesn't disqualify him from letting him try and pass the safety car, but maybe he has to sit behind these guys and just maybe let it happen. So, you know, maybe it's not great for him, because he'll probably want to pass the safety car right now and probably try and get behind this pack, but I don't know. And as I've just seen at the very bottom of the screen, Charlie has made an interesting choice to go on the mediums, which means he's now down in P18, so he's at the back of the grid once again, but he will catch the back of the pack, so it's only the start of the safety car. But George made the pit stop on the softs and is in P10 behind his teammate Valtteri Bottas. I mean, what do you make from this now? What do you reckon George can make from this? We've seen his pace. Can he make it further up the grid?
I don't doubt it, to be honest. I definitely think George can rise up. But in rising up, he will meet his match of Preston, who will indefinitely get away with a lot of time for George.
Ooh.
Oh!
George has gone off wide. I've just seen him going to the back of one of the
he's
DNF'd. And
DNF'd.
George is out of the race after seeing T-bone the back of that Aston Martin, and now there's carnage making more contact. I think that is Lance Stroll, which he made contact with, and George is out of the race. And this is very crucial for the championship now, because the man who was in P10, and a load of people getting 5-second time penalties right now, which is probably gonna maybe benefit Charlie a little bit more, and Harry and Jamie as well. But Preston, maybe seeing that George's DNF is maybe lined up his day a little bit more, maybe so maybe not George's. Can't speak once again. You know, it's quite unfortunate. I was watching the safety car, and well, I was just watching the back of the pack, and I just see George T-bone, and Lance Stroll just gets absolutely launched up in the air.
I know, I saw it. I think it was like a Williams or something, for just sending it straight into the back of him. Very unlucky.
Once again, another collision, and Charlie has a 5-second time penalty now. What the earth is going on under the safety car right now, as Preston now takes it away to restart the race. As the lights go green, Preston is controlling the pack now, and now will he catch Lewis Hamilton napping? And he will catch Lewis Hamilton napping, as he gets a great start from the very front and doesn't make any mistakes. And what the hell has gone on? I mean, we've just seen a disaster on the safety car.
It really is, to be honest, and can we just look at the people who might have benefited from this? Jamie, now back to P11, probably has the biggest chance to get any points this race, but look at the AI behind him. Lance Stroll, Sergio Perez just bugging out. I do not know what is going on here. I can't believe it's this bad, to be honest. Harry in P14 now. Harry has very much not gone well for this safety car at all. He has dropped down so far in this race. Is this his chance to get back up with Sergio Perez in front of him? That is the question.
I mean, it probably is, but just to interrupt this real quick, I got some confirmation, and apparently Alex Albon T-boned George under safety car, which meant George would go into the back of Lance Stroll, which causes DNF.
I think George has been very unlucky. I think everyone's been very unlucky with the AI today. But, you know, George especially, now he's out. And the championship, I mean, obviously we have how many races left? But it's, you know, it may be slipping away from him from this race. He has to really work hard for the 19 races left.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's over yet because, you know, Charlie is not even scoring any points and he's still got a time penalty to serve at the end of this race. So whatever he gets at, he'll get that 5 seconds added on. And depending on how close it was, it is towards the end of the race, like we're seeing right now, we could probably see Charlie not even scoring points, which means Preston could become a contender for this championship. But we was talking about how it could have been maybe a 4-way, 5-way fight for the championship this year. You know, we spoke about at the start of the season, we saw how Carl was putting in this dominant performance, but then, you know, he missed the second race, he's missed the third, and now he's missed the fourth. And every race he misses, it impacts him significantly because he loses points, and we all know that the AI driver, whoever gets the highest points for him, in this case, it'll be Lewis Hamilton, so he'll gain 15 points this race and get them added on to his score. But, you know, every time he misses the race, it's in every time that he misses an opportunity to maybe get a podium for himself. He could probably be up there right now, but as the standings stand for him, I think he is down. He's only fourth in the... Yeah, he's currently fourth? Yeah. He's fourth in the drivers right now. I think with...
2 points off of Harry here. So it's a very close run still for Carl. And with Harry down in no points, Carl will shoot up.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Carl will definitely pass Charlie, not Charlie, it will definitely pass Harry, but Preston will move up to maybe that P3 slot, P4, P3, P2 slot, as, you know, as we see, what's it called, Charlie still at the top of the standings, sorry, yeah, as you see Charlie at the top of the standings still leading the championship, but this time, oh, and I've just seen Charlie gone round as well as we're speaking about him. So he's gone round.
This is... what a crazy race we've had today. 4 laps left to go. Jamie was almost spun out again by glitchy AI, but I think the lag actually saved him. This is almost... if you all go back to Season 1 Canada, this is almost like that race all over again. It is awful.
Yeah, it's a bit all over the place really at this rate, but I mean the person who's benefited from this race has definitely been Preston and Jamie so far. If Jamie can hold on to this P6 slot, which is quite interesting because this would be, I think, and once again, I don't know whereabouts, what's it called, where Jamie is and how many points he's got, but you know, he'll definitely, what's it called, will have me a bit more happier this race that he scored points. Last time out in Miami, I don't even think he scored any points. But yeah, I mean,
It's definitely going to be an interesting one, but I really do.
Jamie sends one up in the inside of Fernando Alonso for P5. What an aggressive move from Jamie, from Jamie to get that P5 slot.
Jamie may be on for a podium here if he keeps this up. Do not count him out. He is really going for it.
Yeah, I mean, what with 4 laps to go, he's definitely going to be seen setting his sights on the podium for today. As he tries past Lando Norris, he does a dummy, sends it down the inside. Will he make this move work?
He has!
And he's made the move work, and he's now up into P4, and all he has to do now is pass Lewis Hamilton, and he has to bridge a 1.3 second gap to him. Well, no, it's 1.5, sorry, to get that podium position now. And maybe Hamilton fights away with Tsunoda a little bit, so maybe he can grab P2, and Jamie could have a good day today. Get a podium, maybe not. We was talking about how, you know, I think he finished a P11 in qualifying. He finished quite low, actually. And then he started even lower because that 5th-place grid penalty he got. And now, look where he is. The man who started in the lower half of the grid is now up in the top half of the grid now. So what a big improvement from Jamie today. And I'm sure he will get driver of the day today because the performance he's put in. But, you know, let's talk about some of the performances. We've had 2 DNFs, George being the main one, you know, not getting any points this race, which won't be what he wants at all. But yeah, I mean, sorry, that's my bad. But yeah, George will not be getting any points this race, which will be the main talking point. Because especially he's in a fight for the championship, you know, it's not looking good.
It really isn't, to be fair. I mean, now it just brings, you know, Preston and Jamie both into this championship battle. I mean, obviously Jamie's not had, you know, much luck in Miami and Bahrain, but as you say, he got podium in Spain. He's near a podium now in Emilia. I definitely think Jamie could be a part of this championship battle as well, potentially making it a goddamn 6-way. What is this?
I mean, I wouldn't go as far as saying it's a 6 fight just yet. I mean, if Jamie can have a bit more, but he's going to send one down the inside of Lewis Hamilton.
No!
And he keeps his car under control, despite Hamilton coming back at him and making some contact. He does keep his car under control. He counteracts that slight rear end slide and still keeps his car. But he made such an aggressive move that, you know, that's probably what cost him, and he might have a little bit of damage, but he still has DRS on Hamilton, so he's going to try come back at him within these final few laps. So will Jamie get the podium position? It's quite crucial for him to get this podium because he'll be happy with his performance. But if Jamie makes moves like that, and he won't be getting far because, you know, as we just saw, he's almost just caused a crash, should I say, because, you know, Hamilton did have to go off track and then he did come back. So, I mean, it takes 2 to tangle, but, you know, as they say. But it's Jamie has to really put his A game on, not make such dumb moves like that, and has to play a bit more smarter and maybe get him on DRS. But as we see now, Harry takes the fastest lap with a 1:19 flat, and that's good. Despite, I don't know who had it before, it might have been George, but it won't be any use to Harry, so I don't think that's any use, but it might have been Preston who had it, so that might have taken a point away from Preston from this championship fight. But it's every point will count for Preston. But still talking about Jamie and Hamilton, Jamie is going to have DRS on this straight, and Hamilton has absolute nothing. I think this is the final lap. No, this is going to the final lap right now. And Jamie is going to try and make the move on Hamilton. It's now or never. He's going to deploy everything he got into this final lap. He's going to go to the inside, then switches around to the outside. He's going to make the move on Hamilton, sends it down the inside. They still go wheel to wheel, kind of looking like Verstappen and Hamilton in real life back in 2021.
Seriously, glitching and ghosting a bit through Hamilton, but Jamie manages to get that P3 position. position. He is on for a podium, people. Do not mistake it. Jamie is back up, and Harry has retired from the session. Very unlucky for Harry, to be fair, today. We are only 3 races left of this race, and we are just going to flick on to Preston here, you know, because we normally watch the final person on the final lap of the race. He is coming down to the final 2 turns of this race very quickly before I shout to the heavens. What is your opinion on Preston? Very, very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, Preston looking real good as he runs the final few corners. Preston will come home to win this Emilia Grand Prix, and Preston becomes the 3rd race winner of the season in the 4th round of the DFL Championship, and it's Preston who wins the Emilia Grand Prix.
Well done to Preston today. What a great drive. Comes from P2 position in Miami now to P1. What a great race. Very unlucky race to Bailey today. Hopefully he can come back strong in Silverstone, but we'll definitely have to see. Very unlucky to Harry and George as well for the DNF. Charlie finishes in that P12 position. Jamie gets on the flipping podium for the 2nd time this season. What a great race. And Kalichi, an annoying race we have seen today.
Yeah, I mean, what a fantastic race from the man who won this race, Preston, the man who's now brought himself into a championship fight once again, like we saw in Season 1. I mean, I don't know what he's like in Season 1. I don't know how he performed in the opening parts of these races, but I'm sure he did fantastic, and he's doing that once again, putting up a shift once again, and now brings himself into a championship fight. And it's not been the weekend for either George or Charlie. The 2 championship fighters going into this race have now sort of introduced a 3rd person to this championship fight.
They really have, and people, we are about to find out your driver of the day, but Preston does take that P1 position, as you can see. Driver of the day today is going to London. I definitely think it should be Jamie. What a great drive.
Yes.
But we'll be out with the podium in a second. And here we go with the podium. Preston walking up to it right now. He is coming out. What a great win. His 1st win back since Season 2. Well done to Preston. Also, well done to Jamie for getting his 2nd podium of the season. Brilliant work by the both of them today. And what a crazy, amazing, laggy, I don't know what else to call it, race. But Peter will be giving you the quick rundown of the leaderboard in a second, people. Do not worry about it. We'll be right back with you in a second for the leaderboard.
So here we go. Preston taking the win, following Jamie in P3. We also have Charlie down in P12, Harry and George both DNF in this race, and Bailey down in P17 after not having a fantastic race. But that is your leaderboard for this race in round 4.
And we'll see you in Silverstone next time. See you then, people. Goodbye.